And now on the line, Senator Gareth Scahill, who is a senator from Roscommon for Fine Gael. Gareth, welcome to Near FM.
Good afternoon, Darren, and hi to all of your listeners in Near FM.
Okay, cool. Gareth, I know that you were only nominated as a senator in February, and this is my first time talking to you on radio. As this is my first time talking to you on radio, can you tell our listeners how you are finding being a senator over the last few months?
Well, Darren, I said it in my maiden speech actually in the Senate that my story in politics wouldn't be that long of a story. I was only made a councillor in June last year, June 2024, and 8 months later I was lucky enough to receive a call from the Taoiseach Simon Harris asking me if I'd be in a position to join the team in the Seanad. And I suppose what I've done, Darren, is I've jumped into it the same way as I jumped into the council, and I've taken on every opportunity I had to speak and to raise issues for the people in Roscommon, people in West of Ireland and all over the country on issues that are relevant for them. Things like apprenticeships, things like road safety, things like let me see, we were on about the N61 earlier on. Tomorrow we're talking about third level education, school fees, student accommodation. But I'm really enjoying the variety in the role, and I'm especially looking forward to getting stuck into the new committees when they're set up, because I've been put on the Education and Youth Committee, but also the new Committee on Artificial Intelligence.
I didn't know there was going to be a committee on artificial intelligence. Sounds very interesting, doesn't it?
Very much so. I have a background in IT. Now, I haven't worked in the area in 10 years, but when I heard there was a committee on artificial intelligence, I was very eager to get involved, because I think the opportunities and the potential that a committee like that is going to open up to us are fairly unlimited. And I believe that artificial intelligence will more than likely during this term have an impact on every department across government.
Okay, I was going to ask you kind of what you think the biggest issues are, your priorities over the next 4 or 5 years in terms of Roscommon Galway, but you kind of already answered that already. Are there any other issues, are there any other issues, we talked about the N61 in a couple of minutes, but are there any other issues you think specific to Roscommon Galway that you're kind of working on prioritising over the next few years?
Well, just to clarify too, Darren, senators don't have constituencies. The senator's constituency is nationwide, but obviously as a Roscommon man and from the Roscommon Galway constituency, the issues there would be the ones that I would be most familiar with. I suppose the issues across the board are similar nationwide at the moment. Like housing is the number one issue. It's something that the government has a plan in place for, and we look forward to enacting that. But disability is another very big issue, and it's an area that I came across extensively in Roscommon, because we have some unbelievable organisations in Roscommon, like the Brothers of Charity, Rehab Care, who are providing daily services in my area, and people are coming from a long way away to access these services. And it's how we can look at, and it's the same with housing, how we can look at where things are working and how can we replicate that so that they work in a wider area. They're big issues for me. As well as that, I am especially, as I said already, looking forward to getting involved in this artificial intelligence committee, because the impact on jobs, the new jobs, the impact on infrastructure, the infrastructure we need to be a leader in rolling out artificial intelligence with the companies that are already based in Ireland. All of those issues are going to be coming up in front of this committee, as well as the impact of artificial intelligence on all of the various departments and how information is stored and how information is accessed. even going down to simple things like facial recognition on the Gardaí's vest-worn cameras. That's all going to come down to artificial intelligence. So I'm especially excited to see how all of that materialises in the coming months.
One thing I think Fine Gael in particular and government haven't, you don't really hear much about, I think, the last few years, but the rollout of broadband across rural Ireland. Like, as I was telling you before our interview, my parents have a holiday home outside where you're from, Castlereagh, and only in the last 2 years we actually got broadband in our house, and we're 5 miles outside Castlereagh, a real rural area. Do you think that in Roscommon, the county where you're from, that the rollout of broadband is going well?
Okay, in terms of coverage, the rollout is going well. If you were asking me this 2 months ago, Darren, I was just recovering from the damage done to our area by Storm Ewan, and the number of households that were out of connectivity and like disconnected for long periods, for a month and 2 months at a time, was very high. My own house, we had satellite broadband for the last 8 years, and 18 months ago, we were connected to the National Broadband Plan, and that's bringing fibre to the household now. I'm like your parents' house. I was 5 kilometres from Castlereagh, so we were outside the connection of fibre, but that's where the enactment of this National Broadband Plan has sort of equalised things and brought households like ours in rural areas to the same level as households in the urban areas where all the investment has been made. So, like, it's not there yet, but it's a lot closer now than it was 4 years ago.
Okay, we'll move on. Gareth, as I was saying to you before our interview, I have an interest in transport in County Roscommon, and in particular the calls for the upgrade of the N61 between Athlone and Boyle. For the benefit of any of our listeners, Gareth, who may not be very familiar with this road, can you tell them why it needs to be upgraded?
Okay, the road, the N61, is a road that brings you from Athlone to Boyle, but it's effectively the main road from Athlone to Sligo. And it passes through Roscommon Town, Tulsk, through Boyle. But for people that would be familiar with the N61, it's got dangerous bends, I suppose narrow sections. There's been histories of collisions on it. And it's in a report, I believe, done by Roscommon County Council in 2023. There was something like 107 recommendations to bring it up to a national standard. And the then Minister for the Environment, or the Minister for Transport, Eamon Ryan, decided not to proceed with, I suppose, upgrading the status of the N61. And this is something that had a big impact on us because I suppose it was critical infrastructure for regional connectivity, economic development, road safety, as I said. But that particular route would open up huge potential for an area that's probably known as the Hidden Heartlands in Fáilte Ireland's terms. But it would be connecting Sligo and Athlone, two big employers, two economic hubs in the mid and northwest. And we mentioned housing already. It opens up possibilities, the upgrading of that, for people to live in more rural areas where they can potentially get a house and then commute to areas where they can work and get jobs. Just to highlight, I suppose, Darren, the importance of it, as a country, we're investing in this particular area. We're investing in tourism, we're investing in employment, we're investing in infrastructure, but the connectivity of it all isn't currently been supported in the way it should be. Last Friday, the Just Transitioning Fund with Fáilte Ireland announced, I think, 1.19 million for Bay Sports and the Hudson Bay Master Plan, which is just on the outskirts of Athlone on the N61. I think about 2 weeks ago, Ericsson's announced a 200 million investment over 3 years in research, development and innovation at their Athlone facility. Now, they are employees and the people utilising the tourism facilities there don't live right beside it. They want to be able to get to these places where the investment is being made safely and in a timely manner. And from our own point of view as public representatives, the strategic importance, the economic benefit, the tourism benefit, they're all there to be seen. The ability for people to travel safely on these roads, like so many other regions of the country can do, it's of vital importance. And the N61 has justified the need for that based on the volume of traffic that's on it on a daily basis.
Okay. And in terms of the road network in Roscommon, County Roscommon in general, is the N61 the biggest road upgrade that's been called for by yourself and other politicians in across North Roscommon? Or are there other roads as well?
No, the extension of the N4 is currently taking place at the moment, which is basically Rooskey to French Park or Rooskey to Ballahadreen. And there's been significant investment in the last 5 years in relation to that. I think it's just over 300 million has been allocated and invested in that at the moment. And that's going to significantly reduce the time, reduce the carbon footprint of vehicles on that, but introduce safety measures along that whole section in the north. But just going back to the N61 intersects that, and it opens up the N7 and the N4 to connect through the middle of Roscommon, bringing in, as I said, Knockcrockery, Roscommon, Tulsk, and Boyle onto that road network. So, if we're going to invest in the motorways, we need to also invest in the national primary routes as well to ensure that people can get to them safely and in a timely manner.